Great Hearts, Texas families, faculty, and staff. My name is Curtis Endorf, and I'm honored to serve as the interim superintendent. Welcome to our series, Championing Our Great-Hearted Texas Leaders. I'm here at Great Hearts Irving Upper School with Headmaster Dyer to talk about the amazing community that she leads here and her journey to Great Hearts. Dr. Dyer, thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's been a pleasure and an honor. What brought you to Great Hearts? And tell us more about the Irving Upper School community.
Great Hearts had me at hello. It was 2013, and some of the leaders from Arizona, from Great Hearts America, came to an institution which is dear to me, the Dallas Institute of Humanities and Culture, and told the audience about this incredible project that they were considering starting in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I went home that night and I wrote in my journal a hope and a prayer and a dream that my children could possibly have this kind of education. And I checked in with my mentor, who trained me sternly, sent me out into the world after about 2 decades of mentoring me to carry on her work in the world. That's Dr. Louise Cowan, and she has been incredibly influential in really the origins of the whole classical education movement right here in Dallas. And so I checked in with her and I said, Dr. Cowan, what would you think about me joining Great Hearts? And she told me that Dan Scoggin had come to visit her and told her about Great Hearts. And she said, those men are so brave that they would do such a thing. And Amber, I think that could be a great place for you. And I had to ask her permission because, you see, for many years we had had lots of stern conversations at tea parties and so forth, that I was to continue her work in the world and continue the building of young people through classical liberal arts education. And so I learned about it then. Fast forward a couple years later, 2015, Great Hearts launched here in Irving, a K-7 academy. My kids were number 75 on the waiting list, and I waited and waited and waited and finally got that call in the summer that they had been admitted. And so as our academy was developing here in Irving, I served as a parent volunteer and helped instantiate several of the parent programs that we still hold dear here on our Irving campus. I also volunteered as a speaker and a heartener of teachers. Again, carrying on that work of classical liberal education for which I was trained. So it was in 2021 that Dr. Scoggin and Mr. Denton reached out to me and said, we have a need here in Irving. There was a plan to build a new building and to take the campus through a multi-phase, multi-year expansion project to become the first 2-campus Great Hearts Upper School in the whole nation. And here's the challenge for that kind of thing. Great Hearts Irving has a dear family and faculty community. And when you change rapidly and grow rapidly, of course, there are lots of ways that can steer you away from your mission and vision. And so the ask was really simple. They said, Dr. Dyer, we want you to almost double the size of our student body, double the size of the faculty, and lead us through this change. And oh, by the way, we want Great Hearts Irving Upper School to become the flagship upper school for Great Hearts nationally. And I said, that sounds like a challenge. So it took me some time of reflection with my husband and my family, and my colleagues and my friends, and dear loved ones to sort through this. And as I considered the cost and considered what that would mean to step away from the university, I realized that I was being called into this work. So I came to Irving or stayed in Irving and planted here in our community to get to work with hiring some of the best teachers in the world to teach my own children and to partner with really some of the best families in the world with whom I was already raising my children, and to continue to hold on to the vital founding of this school that has made it a beautiful place for children to be educated since 2015.
So, Dr. Dyer, when you joined, there was this charge to grow and then also to stay very true to our classical mission, our model, our culture. And our mission animates so much of what we do. What part of our mission stands out to you most and your campus community?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I think that Great Hearts is different than any other classical school, so I'm glad that you asked it.
Yeah.
A classical school can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different entities. And for some, it means that it's a reading list, and for others, that might be a particular kind of teleology towards citizenship, and those are wonderful things. But our name says everything.
Yeah.
We are Great Hearts, and so our teleology, which if you think of a telescope, that's how we that has the same root word, telos. Our end goal here at Great Hearts is to form the hearts and the minds and even the bodies of our scholars. And so our model of classical education, yes, it encounters the great Western tradition and the best books that one could read, the best that's been thought and written and said and lived throughout 3,000 years. Yes, we do that. Yes, our kids become great citizens. They become excellent members of their community. But our highest vision is that inculcation of wisdom and helping children to form deep souls. And it's that formation of the heart through the timeless classical liberal arts tradition. And so I think that is undoubtedly what makes Great Hearts so special. What distinguishes Great Hearts from every other school that I can really think of is that whole student formation that goes beyond just that intellectual development. It goes beyond utility. Although our kids get great college acceptances and great SAT scores and they get great jobs when they graduate, but really that formation of what kind of human being they want to become, what kind of deep souls they will develop as they study here.
Yeah. Dr. Dyer, what might be surprising to some, but is not surprising in Great Hearts, and what we've talked about so far, is that we're talking about who our scholars are, not just what they know and can do. And our kids get a wonderful, rich, deep curriculum that is not available almost anywhere else in the country. But there's a difference between student achievement and student formation, and we're about student formation. What does that look like at Great Hearts Irving Upper School? Why is student formation so important?
Well, I think, again, it's a true distinction for us. There's a lot of places that scholars could go, that families could choose, where someone is going to get high SAT scores or great college acceptances. But there are very few places that will look you in the eye and say, we're after your child's heart. We're going to link arms with you and partner with you to help you form in your child and young people a deep soul. And we believe with all of who we are that our work as educators is to come alongside families and come alongside our teenagers to help them navigate the tricky terrain of teenage years towards that end. And we have the best guides along the way. We have Homer, and we have Plato, and we have Augustine, and we have C.S. Lewis, and these are incredible inspirations to us, but we also have remarkable faculty who are deeply invested in not simply a utilitarian vision for a young person, but truly forming the hearts of young people.
That distinction of the great hearts, the wisdom, the soul, the who you are, not just what you can do. Our kids can do amazing things, they learn amazing things, but who they are, and the innermost self, right, their virtue. That's so critical to being a classical school. So when parents ask you, what is a classical school? How do you describe that to them?
Yes. Okay. Well, the easiest way to say it is a classical school offers your child the kind of education that Shakespeare had.
Yeah.
The kind of education that Einstein, that Newton, that Rembrandt, that C.S. Lewis, that J.R.R. Tolkien, that Martin Luther King Jr. had. It is a timeless education. It is the best of the tradition. At the high school level, what that looks like is 2 hours per day in a Socratic Humane Letters seminar where students, instead of looking at phones, are looking at one another in the eye. At Great Hearts, that looks like our students considering really the highest aspirations of what it means to be a human. They're asking these questions together as young people with that mentor, the teacher, by their side, these questions of what is justice? What is goodness? What is friendship? What is love? What is a good life? And we do that in community together. As a classical school, we still believe old-fashioned things like truth exists, goodness exists, beauty exists. I conform myself to truth. Truth doesn't conform itself to me. And so as we sit in a circle for 2 hours per day discussing these things in these beautiful classrooms with our incredible teachers who are mentors to our young people, we are not coming up with really subjective ideas about things. We are going into this knowing that we have some of the greatest guides to lead us.
Dr. Dyer, you took us through this great intentionality and depth that we have at Great Hearts in our model, in our philosophy, in our curriculum. How do all of those pieces shape our culture?
They really shape us profoundly. Dr. Donald Cowan wrote that the well springs of classical liberal learning are surprise and delight. The spirit of liberal education is joy. In this school, you hear a lot of laughter. You know, one of the things that our assistant headmaster says often to our faculty as we go into the classrooms, that the mark of a really great class is laughter and joy. Our culture, I think, is really also distinguished by how scholars spend their free time. So on our breaks, during lunchtime, they're talking with one another, they're making music, they're playing soccer, they're playing volleyball, they're studying together. I think that this kind of education leads someone to a life that is rich in relationships. We hear often from families that they really enjoy being with their teenagers. They're just really good company. And one of the reasons for that, of course, is that we have the best parents and they've raised them really, really well here at Irving Upper School, but also because of the kind of peer interactions that our young people have. The data suggests that as much as we want our teenagers' number one influences and largest influence to be us as their parents, the data actually suggests that their peers and their teachers are going to take a massive role in their formation and in their in influencing them as they are encountering their adolescent and their teenage years. And so the culture is really distinct.
So what's fascinating to me and not uncommon in Great Hearts is we're having this conversation about the purpose of school, the purpose of education, and we're talking about relationships and humanity. Our schools are incredibly high achieving. Kids learn a wildly rigorous curriculum that has a depth that does not exist in other places.
Right.
This goes back to how we think about student achievement versus student formation. Students achieving is vital. Students forming into virtuous humans is why we're here. Dr. Dyer, Great Hearts Irving was the first school that Great Hearts Texas had up here in North Texas. And you are growing this upper school community year over year. Every school community is unique, but we have one mission and we're united in that mission. But Irving, I'm sure, is distinct from others. What is unique about the Great Hearts Irving Upper School community?
We really started out with such a small grassroots movement here that has expanded throughout the nation. But what that means for Great Hearts Irving is that we have so many experts in classical education here serving on our faculty. So the majority of our faculty members have masters and PhDs. Of course, many of them come from the University of Dallas. They've been classically educated there. Many of them have gone through some of the formative work of the Macmillan Institute and the Dallas Institute for Humanities and Culture. So they've studied the classics with some of the grandparents of the classical education movement. Many of our families actually come from that background as well. And so on this campus, we have families who some of them are new to classical education, but some of them have been partners with me in spaces where I served prior to joining Great Hearts in cultivating this model of education nationally, expanding it and growing it. And so you will walk into any classroom at Great Hearts Irving and you will find an incredible teacher. I don't know that I could find this caliber of faculty really at any other school in America. And our teachers have come here because they are passionate about not only their academic disciplines, but one of the screening questions that I asked every time for over 90 people who I have hired since joining Great Hearts, the screening question I ask is, do you love kids?
Yeah.
Do you love kids? And our faculty are here because they love their academic discipline, yes. They love the classics, yes. But they also love kids.
Yeah.
And they know that this kind of education changes kids' lives, and this kind of education changes the world. And so we are a mission and vision-driven organization. Great Hearts Irving Upper School is a place where that vision comes alive in the classroom every single day.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Dr. Dyer. Our goal is really low, to change the world. Thank you so much for talking with us today, talking with me today, Dr. Dyer. And to our Great Hearts Texas families, faculty, and staff, thank you for championing the wonderful headmasters, schools, leaders, and mission that we have in this organization. Please continue to join me as we visit our schools across the state and champion our great-hearted Texas leaders. Thank you.